Welcome to Stillworks and Brewing. My name is Randy, and this is a channel that's all about home distillation and brewing. So what do we got going on for you today? Well, this is going to be pretty interesting. Today what we're going to do is we're going to make two of my bourbons side by side, and we're going to compare them at the end. Okay, so our first bourbon we're going to make is our super easy beginner bourbon, right? This is a bourbon I started with. It is so easy to make, but it tastes fantastic. But then the other bourbon I'm going to make is Stillworks and Brewing's Bourbon 2.0. This is one, I think it's fantastic. So what I want to do, we're going to do these side by side. We're going to do the mashes at the same time, ferment at the same time. We're going to distill them out the same day. Then we're going to age them as close as we can on oak, like the same. And then we're going to see what the difference is. Okay? So let me get set up and we'll get ready to get going. I got my waters heated up to 200 degrees. Let me add some of that hot water into our first mash tun here. All right, so and I'll put all the ingredients to both of them down in the descriptions. So, I have 8 pounds of cornmeal. So what you want to do is just try to mix this in slow. This is the super easy. There's one. Get these all mixed in. I did put a false bottom in this, and I also have the the brew. Okay, now I'm ready. This does make pretty good bourbon, though. I was very pleased with it. There's two. Starting to thicken up a little bit. All right, this is our fourth bag. Okay, so there is our first one. What I'm going to add is a cap full of high temperature enzyme. That will help break it down a little bit, so that while it's getting all the starches out. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do now. We're letting hydronize this corn and hydronize, gelatinize. What we'll do is we'll put the lid on it, and it's going to go for 1 hour. We'll get all them wonderful starches out of that corn. Okay, let's do the same thing on here. Except for this time, we're going to use our roasted corn. Now this time I got 10 pounds of the ground roasted corn. Oh, that smell. I mean, it smells like popcorn. Okay, there's one. there's two. I ground this up earlier. And 4. All right, and I'm also going to put a cap full of the high temperature Enzyme in here too. Give that a stir. I mean, it's thick. Whoop. Okay. What I'll do is put the lid on this. I'm going to set the timer for 1 hour, then we'll be back. Okay, so it's been an hour. Let's mix in the rest of our grain. Well, first we need to check the temperature. And we are 160 at 163, 164. That'd be perfect. Now, just as a visual plate. Okay, so what we're going to do is we want to mix in the rest of the grains. So we're going to mix 2 pounds of 6-row barley. Get this all mixed in here. And what this is going to do is start converting them starches over into sugars. A little thick, and they should thin it up a lot. And then the next thing we got is we got 2 pounds of rye. And I think the rye should give it a little bit of a pepper taste to it. I like rye in my bourbon. And I'll probably come back in about a half hour and just give it another little quick stir. Double check the temperature. Make sure she's starting to thin out. I mean, it's thinning out already now. It's only been a few minutes. All right. Let's double check our temperature on this. We are looking at 155, somewhere in that neighborhood. So that's about perfect. Like I said, it's already starting to thin. All right, let me cover that one up. Let's move on to the next. I mean, it's pretty thick. if you can see that. All right, so let's mix our grain in on this one. So, we got 3 pounds of 6-row barley. Fingers slippery. Let me get that started. Get that stirred in. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to put in is my rye. That is 2 pounds of rye. And last but not least, I got 2 pounds of white wheat. 2 pounds of white wheat. Okay. Let me check my temperature of this one. And we are looking. Oop, it's a little bit on the low side. 140. That's a little bit on the low side. Let me heat some water up, and then I'll get this temperature boosted up to right around 150. Okay, so we got both of our mashes here. They are, we're going to give them, we mixed our grains in, so we're going to let the conversion take place. So we'll be back in about 90 minutes, and that should be done. So we'll see you in 90 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 90 minutes. We need to take let me do a iodine test. I mean, I can see it's all nice and runny. So I'm pretty confident that the everything has been done. Okay, I put it in there, and it goes back to the original color. Let me try this one. Oh, it's all nice and runny too. Put a drop in, it goes right to the original color. Okay, so the iodine, or the starch conversion has taken place. So now what we want to do is we're going to sparge this over into our fermentation bucket. Okay, so let me get... I can move the bag around every once in a while. That's what's nice about these all right, let me get this sparged over. Okay, this recipe calls for 6 pounds of sugar. I'll start with 4, see where that brings us. The wort is, or the mash is still warm. Let's take a reading on it and see what we got. One point oh 60. I will add in the other 2 pounds of sugar. Here it is. And I think that'll bring us up right where we want to be. So I'll put about half this bag in. Okay. That should bring us up to where we want to be. It's nice and sticky. 1.080. I'm gonna leave it right there. 1.080. Okay, so let me check the temperature on that. I think it might still be a little bit too warm. Yeah, it's up over, it's almost 120 degrees. So what I'll do with this is I'll put it in my fermentation room, and then later on tonight I'll go ahead and pitch the yeast. Sparging this one over, and I can smell the difference just in, I can really smell that roasted corn in this. Okay, so I'll get this one sparged over. I got that sparged over. Let's check, see what we got. And we are looking at 1.7677. 1.77. 1.077. All right. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put this in the fermentation room, and then later on tonight, on the other one, I'll pitch the yeast. Okay, just a quick recap of what we're doing. We started out, we're doing two different bourbons. One is our super simple bourbon with cornmeal that we've done a bunch of times in the past. And then this one right here was our Bourbon 2.0, which is made with roasted corn. We're doing both the same. The numbers, I got them out pretty close. One was 1.77, 1.077, I always forget that. And this one is 1.080. Okay, so that's pretty darn close for our starting gravity. We put the cornmeal and the corn in. We added almost 200 degree water. We let that steep and hydronize the corn for an hour, and then we got the temperature down to, I think it was 160. Then we added our grain, which it ended up dropping it to about 153 so, and then we let it stay in there for an hour and a half to convert the starches over into sugars. We did do a starch test that passed that, and then we sparged everything over into our fermentation buckets, our sanitized fermentation buckets. So we put them in our fermentation room, and we're going to let them cool down to below 90 degrees, and we'll pitch our yeast. We're going to use daddy yeast on both of them. And what we're going to do is we're going to ferment them out, and then we're going to have a long day of distilling. And then what we'll do is put them on toasted white oak chips, and we're going to see if they're different. Both of them are good. I mean, I've had them both not at the same time, but they're both good. So it's been a long day, but a fun day. So I guess the last thing I can say is, hey, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time here on Stillworks and Brewing. Now I gotta clean up.